I, as a human rights defender, I could be anyone who, on my own, or together with other members, does what? Promotes. Or strives. Why are we saying strive for protection? Why aren't we saying or protects? Why do you strive? Why don't you protect?
We put into commitment we must be followed strictly.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put every effort.
Striving
Yes.
to protect.
See that.
The reason why we say strives for the protection is because in Uganda and other parts of the world, the mandate to protect human rights is clear with certain organs. Uganda Police Force, the courts of law. Which other one? Which institutions protect? Uganda Human Rights Commission, courts of law, Uganda Police. Does the army protect?
UPDF protects the
UPDF,
yes.
the territories
Yes.
against attacks. Property, Article 211 and 212 is the police. People and their property. That's why Honorable Nalukola is saying we did not need the army in Kawempe North because the police is enough to protect people and their property. The army should be on the borders and only when war breaks out. Or if police asks the army to come in and help and add on their force. So protection is for known agents or agencies of the state. For us as human rights defenders in the communities, we can promote human rights. Protection, yes, I can protect, but the bigger mandate is with the state organs. So striving means if I see a woman being beaten in her house by her man or husband, I must be able to call the police, call the LOC1 chairman. Because if I go to say, stop beating your wife, this man might turn against me and I have nowhere to run at that point. But if I call the LOC1 chairman and we go together, I am striving to see that human rights are protected by the people who should protect. When a mob is attacking someone for stealing, you see a police truck coming and then they remove that person. The mob wants to kill them, but police comes in and protects by taking him away or her away so that they can follow the law. And realization. It's not enough to protect and promote rights. They must actually be realized. What does realization mean? Fulfilling. You having lunch is realization of your right to food, to life. Are we together? There's a phone which is being overpressed. You need to defend its rights. Hearing that phone, you also feel some pain. Huh? So, realization, members, even in your homes, we are saying a human rights defender, anyone who promotes and protects, it starts with you. All together. It starts with you and me. Pastor, it starts with you being holy. You don't preach holiness, yet for you, you're not holy. This woman was seated there when her husband was preaching and she was crying. People thought maybe the message. But when they asked, I said, man, okay, whatever he's preaching is the opposite. It's the opposite of what he is at home. So, even us as human rights defenders, we preach rights. But
you fail to control
what shows that really you're a
like
defender? When you go back home as a husband, do your children welcome you or they run away? You know, that's when you begin now to see that, man, I've been a tormentor. I've been a tormentor in my own house. Working too hard for what? For your family, so that they can realize. I usually challenge people, human rights defenders. Sometimes, yes, I also fail, but how come that for the last 3 or 4 years, you're a human rights defender doing human rights work, yes, you're struggling, but at school, you're always the last to pay fees for your child. Sometimes they even send them back home, yet you're saying, right to education, responsibilities.